Nontetho Smith. I grew up in Ngutu, and then at some point we moved into Durban. So I'm based in Durban right now, and I run a company called UThingo Mills. I'm a founder and the managing director of that company. But also close to my heart, I run a non-profit organization called Look Up Arc, where I help people struggling with addiction, alcoholism, and then help them to get into recovery. So I go to schools and talk about that, and also do radio inspirational talks. I also partner a lot with people that are running GBV or gender-based violence organization. Then I come and talk about the element of alcohol. I also have a record label. It's a small one. At the moment, I'm focusing on gospel music, South African gospel music. So I have a few artists that I've signed up there. So the journey wasn't easy. I think I've always been inspired to do something, I guess, purposefully or something fulfilling. And with my journey being someone in recovery as well from addiction, for some reason that has become my inspiration to actually help others to get to where I am. So before I worked in government, and with that experience, I was just driven to do something that will be able to generate income for a long time. So when I resigned from working from government, I then started the milling business. But it only really got to where it is now when I dealt with my addiction issues. So I guess I've always been driven to succeed or to make a difference. Growing up in Ngutu, my grandmother in Kudeni, there's a place called Kudeni, it's next to Nkandla in northern KZN. We never used to get a lot of visitors, but then on a Friday or Saturday, there used to be like a group of people that will come and just gather around my house, but they will only come when they're coming to collect super maize meal. So my grandmother and my great-grandmother, both of them, they stayed in the same household. They used to grind maize and make super maize meal with the manual grinding machine. So I think at some point I was listening on radio, and I think a minister, MEC of agriculture, was talking that there's not a lot of women in agriculture. And that picture came into my mind, and I thought, I wouldn't really like to be a farmer, but because I studied marketing, I thought, okay, maybe let me get into agri-processing. So the inspiration came from my grandmother. So as a little child, I think I was 6, 7, I remember that vividly, yeah. You know, my biggest dream was to be a psychologist. I tried so many times to get into psychology, but I'd never got an opportunity because I had started a career in marketing. But for some reason, my personal journey has led me to counsel people in addiction. So I've always been really interested in people's personal, journeys. And I found that, now I'm really a safe space for a lot of people. So I've become someone who handles personal relations and private conversations. Yeah, with especially with the maize milling business, I was just inspired to be able to. So when I was studying marketing, I learned that super maize meal is a staple product. So, and I think bread and other stuff. So I think I was just inspired to have a product that will always be needed. We saw even when it was COVID, food was a necessity. So, but now that I'm in it, I've realized how many opportunities I've given other people to be able to get jobs, and people are just so grateful. And I've made my product such that it's affordable, but yet, it's still good quality. So I think the inspiration is to really help others and have people that, will build whatever that I'm building with. And at the moment, I'm really, really happy with my team. The people that I work with, they're always coming up with ideas. They always want us to grow. So I really think it's about people and helping people. That's what inspires me. I pay a lot of attention to the person, not so much. I guess it's important for a person to deliver, the deliverables but I really take an interest on who I bring in my space and what their goals are, and yeah, and how can I contribute to make their life better? So I think maybe my interest in helping others has helped me to be able to uplift others. And I remember there's a guy that I needed someone who's going to specialize in merchandising, and someone said to me, there's a guy who can do it, even though they've never done it, but they've seen that they got an opportunity to promote some fizzy drink and all of that stuff, so maybe they can try in maize meal as well. So I decided, okay, let me just make a call and speak to the person. I don't know, from the call that I made, I just had a good, feeling about the guy. And so I asked him, can you start tomorrow? Or can I, meet you tomorrow, and then I'll explain everything. And he said, yeah, he'll come. So he came in the morning. He came to the office. I interviewed him. But I didn't realize that he was actually coming from Vryheid. He didn't tell me the day before that. I mean, he had to borrow money to come all the way. And he said to me he had just finished his BCom degree, but he hasn't found a job for 5 years. And all he wanted was just to be in Durban. So, because when he's closer to Durban, there's maybe other opportunities that will come through, even though maybe the milling is not, But he's really striving now. He's helped me to get into some shops that I didn't think I'd be able to get into. So, like having people that when you tell them your dream, like where you want the company to be, they become a mini you. Then they take it as if it's theirs, and then they run with it, and they start coming with ideas. But I think people, if you treat them like you see them, then they give you their best as well. So I have a good relationship with the people that I work with as much. I mean, there's also boundaries, but I take care of them. So at the moment when we started, we were with a spa in KwaMashu, like a few spas there, and from there we moved into a big distributor, Tradeport there in Phoenix. So that helped us to expand around KZN, into the South Coast, even to Kokstad. And then my husband, started wanting to also assist, and he got a contact. We started distributing in Soweto, in Joburg as well. That's where we're at. So I think the dream is really to move and cover all regions. So our next place is Limpopo. People in Limpopo eat a lot of super maize meal. So we're trying to get into that. But I mean, we still have time to grow in Gauteng as well. And also, what we could do, I think, is also like do exports. We've had a lot of inquiries, but we haven't had an opportunity to do it. But there's an opportunity with Congo and Zambia. They always run out of maize, so they always buy it here in South Africa. So we haven't tapped into that. So maybe in the future we'll get an opportunity. So the biggest challenge was working capital. To get into milling, just to buy the bags. The bags are $1 million, and to get maize meal, it's another $1 million. So you need at least about 5. So it took, actually I got a contract to get my maize mill with Spar before I got the money to actually make the maize mill, because I was able to present to them what I wanted to do, so that like anytime when you're ready, you can bring your brand here. So, but that also helped me because I started using that to be able to get funds. That Spar has given me space, even though I had never seen my maize in a bag. So that took me about 3 years to raise there's something around 5 million, which we only need for the first month, and then there's more that you need for that year before you actually start making the money. So you need a lot of money to start. So that was a challenge. And every time we grow into a new region, we need the same amount because we need to buy more bags and all of that stuff. So other challenges is that maize meal is very price sensitive. So if you're not in many regions, or you're not distributing in many places, it's hard for you to negotiate to get the maize to be cheaper. It's hard for you to negotiate or to buy the bags in advance and get a discount. So those things have been the challenge. I guess it's mostly the support, the financial support of the business. That's what has been a challenge. However, we've been able to get through to it, mainly because so the business has been running for about 7 years. Before then, but I had been trying to get into it 5 years prior to that. And I went to this conference where they were teaching or talking about milling and all the stuff when I was still running, trying to get more information. And I met a guy, his name is Franz. He has about 30 years experience in milling. That's all he's ever done. So he's been my mentor. So every time there's a challenge at some point, yeah, he also assisted in wherever he could in making the business run. So I guess, yeah, having someone who has an experience and that will support you, that has helped me. That too, that has helped me, because even, I didn't have much experience with milling and all that stuff, so I trusted him with this is the best quality, this is what it does. But with all of that, he also took me around South Africa, with going around looking how the mills work and how to see if the product is done properly and where to get the cheapest bags and all that stuff. Very, very valuable to me. Yeah, I need it, and I'm so grateful. We met and I introduced myself. He bought into my dream, and he never not answered my call. It's over 10 years now. So I think it's very important to really understand the industry you're getting into, and also understand if it's profitable, sustainable, and then get the people that have an experience in it. People that can help. They don't have to help you for a long time. You can learn about the finance part of things, marketing from different people. But just to get people who are specializing in that industry, it's very important. To the young person, I would say it's important to get someone who's experienced to help you get information about the business, and also get advice or support in understanding, the financial states of that industry that you are getting into, and also just understand. And also, okay, so when you've gotten the opportunity, maybe do a lot of groundwork. Like, the results might not come now, but you need to have enough passion that you're willing to drive and spend a lot of your time researching about the industry and finding information. I think I spent about 5 years before I actually started doing it, before I even had the name for the maize mill business that I was starting. Well, I have my husband who always makes sure that we get time to slow down. But I'm a woman of faith, so prayer and meditation works for me, and I also listen a lot to my artists that play music. So as much as my schedule is very busy, I'm very intentional about making time for myself and taking a break. In my faith, there's a day called Sabbath. Sabbath is a day of rest. So I have a day where I switch off my phone and I just don't do anything that has to do with work. Maybe I could just say it's, as much as it's good to work and succeed in whatever that we're trying to achieve or we're inspired to do. Try and align it with purpose and something that's going to fulfill you. Because there's times where it's really challenging, and if you're doing something that's not fulfilling, you'd likely want to give up. So if there needs to be something more than just wanting to make money. We do need money, but there needs to be more than that. Like for me, with the milling business, it's very close to my heart that people get an opportunity to have work and just to understand their stories, where they come from, and be able to feed people. I also donate to Super Maize Mill quite a lot, and also when it comes to addiction, that's really fulfilling for me, just to get to speak to someone and they call me, they say, I haven't drank for 3 months and it's because of what you said, or I almost lost my job, but now I know that if I don't pick up the first drink, I don't have to drink for that night. So yeah, I think it really needs to be linked with purpose and something that fulfills you. Because, yeah, like recently someone called me and said to me, like a friend, she said, I planned my life around wanting to retire at 40. So she's 43 now. So she was saying to me, now I've retired. And so I wake up in the morning, I've made enough money, I go to gym, and then by 10 a.m. I'm done and I have nothing to do. So then I end up just drinking from 10, and when I call people, no one has time for me. But I remember just saying to her, it's because you just don't have a purpose. Like, because she was saying, must I go back to work? And I said, even if you go back to work, you still feel the same way. So you need to find something that, and we all have that thing that, it's the thing that we should be doing more than, just making the means to an end. So if we can just make our work align with that. If not, maybe get something on the side, that a social thing that will have maybe whatever that could be. So I know someone who works at Transnet. She said the same thing to me. Now she started making candles. It makes her really happy. I think she's now getting to work very late because she's busy making candles, because she writes notes, and it's a personal thing that, makes her feel happy when she does.